So after owning this car for 5 years now, there are definitely modifications I regret doing. So in today's video, we are going to be going over the 5 modifications I regret doing to my WRX. Also, do keep in mind these modifications are ones that I thought I was going to love forever, and now I'm coming to realize my taste is changing. And also, even if the modification went bad or didn't go as I planned, I learned from the experience. So it's definitely something I want you guys to take from this video. Let's get into number 1. Now, number 1, the wrap. Now, originally, if you've been following me for a while, you know that the wrap that I originally had was a Nardo gray. The wrap job that was done was literally perfect, right? It was awesome. I loved it. But the problem came when I decided to change the color and take that wrap off. And this is where the unexperience with wrap did me dirty. So underneath this door and underneath right up here, I actually had to wet sand it. That is because when I took off the wrap, I actually took up some clear coat. I took off paint, let's be real. I took off paint. It is now, I'm too far in it, right? I'm too far in it.
I keep telling you.
I'm so far in it that I can't go back. Just, this is what happened, you know? Can you see it?
Yep.
It's, the clear coat may have left the building. It left the building.
You don't want to know about that part.
You know? This part is a whole different story. This part, it decided to leave the building. So now that's how that's gonna go, you know what I mean? Like, it was chill in the front, like it was playing with us, and now that we got to the side, it decided to throw like a right hook on me, and I wasn't ready for it. Now, this probably won't happen to everyone, but it seems to happen to quite a lot of people, even when using proper things like a heat gun. The clear coat did come up. The wrap was on for maybe a little bit too long, and I'm not really too sure, but after using a heat gun for a while, I ended up getting a lot of the wrap off with minimal damage, but I did take up some clear coat here, take up some clear coat here, which is a huge reason why I'm pretty against wrap, I guess you could say, and I wasn't ready for it, you know? Like, I was going, we were flowing, and now the paint decided to go with the wrap, you know? Like, they were married for so long that they decided, like, let's just continue our life together. But obviously the damage that was done was from my inexperience with wrapping a car, knowing that I should have used a heat gun and all that stuff. But even still, I kind of wish my car was just painted World Rally Blue, mint condition as it was. But definitely, you live and you learn. And eventually I'll take off this wrap, get the car repainted to its former glory. Now, number 2 and 3 is actually engine-wise. So I actually wish I didn't put cams into my car. Now, what the cams are going to do is going to give me more top-end power, but also what it's going to take away is some of that good low-end torque, which I didn't come to realize until after I did it. That's actually kind of what I was wanting, and in my head I thought I was gonna want like 500-600 horsepower, when in reality I'm actually super happy with the 400 horsepower. It feels great. I do wish I had a little bit of quicker response, so I wish I went with actually a bit smaller of a turbo, stayed with a top mount intercooler, and I wish I stuck with stock cams, because to be honest, that increase of maybe 15 horsepower up top, it isn't actually worth it for me, and I kind of wish I knew that before I did it, because the camshafts themselves were literally, I think they were like $1,100 or $1,200, and for 15 horsepower, it's just not worth it. And like I also said, and I've said multiple times before, I wish I stayed with just a larger top mount intercooler setup instead of the front mount. I do agree, the front mount intercooler does look good, it's cool, you can see it from the front, looks good how it fills in the bumper, but to be honest, it does take away a little bit of that low-end quick spool, and that's definitely what I'm after with my car now. So I think I'm probably going to end up replacing my front mount intercooler with a larger top mount intercooler to get back some of that quick spool. Now, next up, although again I absolutely love the look, that's why they are still on, it is my APR GT3 style mirrors. You just can't see anything out of them. It's so difficult. And also like reversing or trying to park, man, it just honestly makes your life really, really hard. Because obviously if I kept just the regular mirrors, I have the mirror controls right here. So when I back up, right, and I try to look over here, I can adjust it, see how close I am to the curb. Especially now that my car is a little bit wider with the flares and the wide wheels and all that stuff, it just makes parking very difficult. So I kind of think I'm going to go back to OEM mirrors, although I know it doesn't look as good, but it just makes driving the car so much easier. Now, last up, and this could honestly be an entire video on its own talking about it, I kind of wish I didn't put my car on air suspension. Now hear me out. Bags, they are freaking amazing for what they are. They just serve so many purposes that coilovers can't compete in, right? The ease of use, you can choose your desired ride height, you can air out, you can do all that stuff. But because I've had air suspension for so long, maybe I take it for granted at this point. But if you put air suspension and coilovers head to head on the same price point, handling wise, we all know coilovers are going to outperform air suspension. Coilovers are designed for that one purpose, and that is to increase handling. Air suspension, although it does well, it just can't compete price-wise with the super dialed set of coilovers. And I think that's kind of what I'm like yearning for at this point, is something that's going to handle extremely well. And because I've experienced already air suspension and all it can do and looking all cool when you park and airing out, I feel like I'm kind of over that phase almost, where I've had it for so long and I think I've taken everything I can from it. So I think maybe it's not necessarily that I regret it, it's that maybe I'm ready for a different kind of phase of the car. I think that was better said. So, like I said, with everything that I stated, it's not necessarily that I regret doing it, although it does make a good title. As of right now, at the moment, I kind of regret it. But really what I'm trying to say is I'm ready for a change. I went through that, I experienced it, and I wouldn't know exactly what I wanted unless I experienced those things. Just like the cams, the front mount, the mirrors, the wrap, air suspension, definitely in particular. But I thought this video could at least give you some insight on what it's like having all these modifications, my experience that I've had with them, and where I stand now, 5 years later, with the car. So hopefully this video gave you some good insight. If you're interested in any of those modifications that I went over, like I said, they're not necessarily bad. It's just now that I've had the experience with them, I have a little bit of a different view on it, and I'm just ready for a different phase with the car. So hopefully this video helped you out. Hopefully you got some good insight on the modifications that I have stated. But as always, of course, buy the modifications that are going to make you happy. Experience them for yourself if you're dying to have them. This video, of course, is just my opinion and my insight on having these modifications for this long. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.